Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is Wednesday, January 22nd, 2020. Some exciting news in the NBA for the fans. Zion Williamson's back, but more exciting than that is that tonight on Truth Frequency Radio, barring a cancellation, we should be joined by Larry Johnson of the Kansas City Chiefs, who's been speaking out against rig sports and the evil taking place in the world. Larry Johnson going to be joining us on tonight's radio program, Truth Frequency Radio, Gematria Effect News. Again, that's every Wednesday, 6 to 9 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. to midnight Eastern. If you can't catch it live, you can always catch the replay at tfrlive.com. So Larry Johnson going to be joining us, and we haven't been able to pin down the exact time, but he'll either be joining us in the second or third hour of the program. Not the first hour, but the second or third hour. Still, you're going to want to tune in for the whole show. It's always a good program, always a lot of great calls, but tonight we got Larry Johnson. So, Zion Williamson, he's back, and he's back by the numbers. And just like I told people when they announced the injury, I said it was a hoax. I said when he comes back, it'll be by the numbers. When David Stern died January 1st, 2020, I said, this is all about Zion Williamson. And when Zion comes back, it's going to be synced with the death of David Stern. And that's exactly what's going on here. So let's go over all of it. And it's exciting this is happening because I'm about to go down to New Orleans. And this is just even more information to share with the people in front of the stadium as we intend to do. We'll have the signs out. Williamson. Recall, David Stern died January equals 22 and Stern equals 22. And the year's 2020. The key digits in that number are 2 and 2. And David Stern died at age 77. And when you write out 77, it equals 2020. Remember, David Stern dead at 77. Zion is 77. Judaism 77. Silver 77. You know, Adam Silver took over for David Stern, the proud Zionist. And it was David Stern who once said way back in 1984 when he took over as commissioner, the NBA is not so much about basketball, it's about making stars. And Zion Williamson is bound to be the biggest star in the league. And here he makes his return on the 22nd day of the year, a span of 22 days from the death of David Stern. And there's a whole lot more here. His return will be against the Spurs. Notice the Spurs come in 19 and 23. They've played 42 games. That number stamped all over black history. Spurs has the gematria of 42 like Zionism. And remember, David Stern, who just died, January 1st, 2020, the day he died, it was a date with 22 numerology, but it was also a date with 42 numerology. And David Stern was born in 1942 on the date September 22nd. And when he became NBA commissioner in 84, he was 42 years old. So dead on a 42 date numerology, became commissioner when he was 42, connects to Zionism. It's the year of Zion Williamson. Remember, this is the 74th NBA season. Zion Williamson equals 74 like Jewish. The sweepstakes for Zion was May 14th, 2019, the anniversary of the establishment of Zionist Israel, May 14th, 1948. You know? And I pointed out when David Stern died, again, here's his birthday, September 22nd, he died January 1st. I pointed out that David Stern died 101 days after his birthday, and New Orleans Pelicans equals 101. So, just like I said, just watch when Zion comes back, it'll all be synced up with David Stern's death. And like I said back in October when they announced the fake injury, I said, just watch. The fake injury will be synced up with when he returns. And just to cut to that point real quick, the announcement of his fake injury was October 21st. Pelicans Zion Williamson underwent surgery on knee injury, will miss 6 to 8 weeks. They announced that October 21st. Guess how many days later it is? It's 93 days later. He's playing the Spurs, which also has gematria of 93. Always a big number with the Spurs, 93. A lot of rituals done around that number. Remember, 93 is the number that represents Saturn, the keeper of time. Another big number in Israel, Knesset's 93. There's about a million things in Israel's history that have to do with 93, the Zionist nation. So Zion comes back 93 days after the fake injury announcement. But again, other things here. The Spurs have the 42 connection as well. They played 42 games. Zionism 42. Coming back to the Pelicans record, they're 17-27. That means they've played 44 games. Zion has the gematria 44 and 17, like NBA 17, like David Stern's 44. This will be New Orleans' 45th game of the season. His return, New Orleans 45 in the most pure cipher. What New Orleans has been waiting for. Okay, so let's just go over some other information that you might have forgot. So, Zion Williamson was out with a torn right meniscus, which I guarantee you is fake. He was perfectly healthy. He was probably getting his MK Ultra programming, honestly. It's probably what they've been doing with him all this time. But New Orleans Pelicans 101, like torn right meniscus, like how Stern died 101 days after his birthday. Again, 101 is the 26th prime number. Special number, God equals 26, game 26. If you haven't read my book, the first chapter is about the significance of 26 and why there's 26 letters in the English alphabet. Again, they're making Zion the new Jordan of the league. Jordan has that gematria of 26. So does Bryant. And, of course, Jordan and Kobe Bryant had very similar careers. Let's see. The start of this injury ritual, before they announced him out October 21st, here's the paragraph from back then. Things got more serious prior to New Orleans' preseason finale on October 18th against the New York Knicks. Williamson was ruled out of the contest with right knee soreness. So this started October 18th, the day leaving 74 days left in the year against Zion Williamson, 74. So is New York Knicks. It's the 74th NBA season. And you might recall this really bizarre thing that happened. You had the major July 4th earthquake, and then you had a big one, an even bigger one the next day, July 5th in Southern California. It suspended the Zion Williamson debut in the Summer League. He was playing against the New York Knicks. They said it was a 7.1 quake. Zion Williamson sweepstakes happened May 14th, 2019, the 71-year anniversary of the establishment of Zionist Israel. And the Pelicans were winning 80-74 when they called the game. Also, if you run the alphabetic order in reverse, Zion Williamson is 79 like New Orleans Pelicans. 79 is the 22nd prime. He returns on the 22nd day of the year, you see. And last year, I predicted the Knicks would finish the season. I made the prediction at the very beginning of the year, which was very helpful at the end of the year because we nailed some big upsets with the Knicks. But I predicted last year that the Knicks would finish the season with 17 wins. I thought they would end up getting Zion Williamson, and I still believe Zion will eventually become a Knick after probably his rookie contract expires. But Knicks did finish with 17. I thought they were going to get Zion when that happened, because I said, watch, the Knicks will finish this year with 17 wins. And again, I predicted this at the very beginning of last NBA season. I said, if that happens, that should be the sign that they pick him up. And I'll show you more about why I thought Zion would be a Knick. So here we go. There was a big story the day before the sweepstakes that the Jewish rabbis in New York were praying for Zion Williamson to come to the Knicks. And recall last year, Zion's season with Duke. Duke became 11-1 over Texas Tech, 11-1, and that mattered because New York equals 111. He was playing for the Blue Devils, 111. Zion's full name is Zion Lateef Williamson, 111. Durham, North Carolina is the home of Duke for another 111. Duke has a lot of success in New York. And I also pointed out how, I mean, I didn't point it out at the time, but once the NBA regular season ended, I saw how from the day that Zion played that game in Madison Square Garden in New York against Texas Tech to the day the Knicks finished their season was 111 days later. And again, they finished with 17 wins. So at that point, I thought I was going to be right about Zion ending up on the Knicks. And anyway, his teammate ended up there, Behrendt, who also played alongside Zion at Duke. So it ended up being the ritual with Behrendt. I still think Zion's going to end up there someday. He's the man with the 111 name connection. And that game was a span of 167 days from Zion's birthday. That's the 39th prime. Blue Devils is also 39. So is New York. So is Zionism. By the way, the draft lottery was on a date with 22 numerology. But check this out. There's been a number of 167 rituals with Zion. And as I say this, let me just check to make sure today isn't 167 days from his birthday since it's a leap year. It might be, actually. This number shows up a lot with him. His birthday is July 6th, which is the 187th day of the year. Look at that. It is 167 days from his birthday, the 39th prime. Again, Blue Devils is 39, Zionism 39, Nike's 39. Remember the fallout last year with the shoe at Duke and how Nike stock supposedly fell after the shoe tour? If you forgot this story, it was about a year ago. It was February 20th, 2019. Right at the beginning of the game, Zion's shoe just tears apart. It's obviously they slid it with a razor blade. They knew that his first pivot would tear the shoe apart. I mean, it was just such a staged ritual. But this was a date with 61 and 16 numerology. Look at the gematria of shoes, 61 and 16. Shoe also equals 47. Zion was playing against the Tar Heels. You know, the heel, he pivoted on the heel of his shoe. It all fell apart. It's like he had tar on his shoe. Tar Heels 47. That game was 47 days from the the NCAA championship. By the way, understanding this knowledge, we had Virginia picked to win the championship before the tournament began. And just like the other year, we had North Carolina over Gonzaga with 71 points being the score. I mean, that was just nailed it hard. But when they came into this game, their last meeting was on March 9th, 3-9, 9-3. North Carolina had put up 74 before hosting Zion. So anyway, let's see. Duke came into that game 11-1 in the ACC before, and they fell to 11-2 by losing to North Carolina. Zionist 112, Judaism 112, Theater 112, and it's theater. Let's see. What other rituals have they done with Zion? Oh yeah, the Nike stock fell after this. Nike 39 like Blue Devils like Zionism. Zion announced he would attend Duke on January 20th, 2018. That's right, we also successfully predicted that Zion would go to Duke because he was making his announcement on a 39 date, and I explained how that was a big number with the Blue Devils. I mean, that was another correct prediction along the way, that Zion would go to Duke. Wasn't quite right about him going to New York yet. I still think he's going to be there, but we did get him going to Duke before it happened. And let's see, what else? Oh yeah, and 2 in the ACC by losing that game to North Carolina. They create some narrative like they don't have the best, medical team down in New Orleans. He won when his shoe tore apart. Just a ritual by the numbers. He's been sitting out with a fake injury. Happen all the time, and you see it when you know the code. And I mean, for those of you who just want, he's playing with his wrist like his wrist is hurt, and they're like, "Ooh, it looks like they're going to have to cart him off here." I mean, come on, you guys. Carting off a football player for a wrist injury? And again, this is what Larry Johnson's been talking about. The feminization agenda. Making men appear weaker and weaker, acting more like, I don't want to insult women. I mean, even a woman would have walked off the field if her wrist was hurt. She wouldn't need a cart to come pick her up. Oh, my wrist hurts so bad, I need to be driven off the field. I mean, it's all a joke. And if they make, Zion actually, when he talks, sounds pretty damn feminine. But if if they're gonna make Zion, you know, shoot. I gotta wrap it up, you guys. I'll be back for the radio show. I gotta take this call. But anyway, I just wonder if they could make this big, strong man Zion even, you know, a little feminine type of player. We'll be back tonight, Truth Seeker. I'll see you then.